Hey everyone! Today I want to tell you about some mysterious cases that happen in Australia. Make sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next part. Alright, let's get started.
18-year-old Theo Hayes from Belgium was living his dream, backpacking across Australia. Since childhood, he'd been obsessed with the country's endless coastlines, pristine nature, and world-class surf breaks. This gap-year adventure was his reward before starting engineering school back home in Brussels, where acceptance letters and a bright future were already waiting. In 2018, Theo hugged his mom and brother goodbye at the airport, promising to stay safe and come home. He was the quiet, thoughtful type, always checking in with family and friends back home. After working odd jobs in Victoria to fund his travels, Theo made his way to Byron Bay in May 2019. This legendary surf town on Australia's east coast is basically backpacker heaven. Every traveler ends up there eventually. Theo checked into the wake-up hostel with just days left on his trip. His flight home was booked. The bus to Sydney was scheduled to pick him up. His family was counting down the hours until its return. But on May 29th, Theo vanished without a trace. He never got on that bus, never made it to the airport. At first, his family figured he was just running late. Maybe his phone died or he lost signal. It had happened before during his travels. But one day turned into a week of radio silence. This wasn't like Theo at all. He was super close with his mom, always shooting her quick texts just to say he was okay. His godfather, who basically saw him as a son, hadn't heard anything either. With the police search turning up nothing, Theo's family took matters into their own hands. His mom and brother even reached out to hackers to break into his social media accounts. They tried guessing his passwords themselves, knowing his messages could reveal who he was with and where he'd been right before vanishing. Here's something crazy most people don't realize. If you can access someone's Google account, you can see every single place their phone has been down to just a few meters. And you don't even need the actual phone. Against all odds, Theo's mom cracked his password. Maybe he'd mentioned it before, or she just knew his usual combinations. After several attempts, she was in. And what they discovered changed everything. His final night started like any other. Thanks to Google location data, they could trace his movements almost minute by minute. Theo headed to Cheeky Monkey's, a popular backpacker bar, with another traveler he'd just met. Security cameras caught everything. Theo dancing, a girl nearby, just living his best life. He only had 2 beers at the bar, though his friend admitted they'd been drinking earlier at the hostel. Still, on camera, Theo looked totally normal, not wasted or out of control, which makes what happened next so bizarre. Around 11 p.m., Theo gets kicked out of Cheeky Monkey's. The footage shows him leaving the bar walking perfectly straight. No stumbling, no slurred speech, completely coherent. His new friend stayed behind to keep partying. But Theo walked out alone into the Byron Bay night. Here's the thing about Cheeky Monkeys. They have zero tolerance for drunk behavior. Anyone showing signs of intoxication gets the boot immediately. Plus, they usually photograph everyone's ID at the door. In Byron Bay, if you get kicked out of one bar, you're blacklisted from every other bar that night. It's a small-town system. But here's the weird part. That exact night, for some unknown reason, they weren't taking ID photos. So there's no record of who else was at the party, no way to track down other witnesses. The only person who could provide any info was Theo's friend, another Belgian backpacker. His story? Theo seemed totally normal. Everything was fine. Then suddenly he got kicked out, and I stayed to keep partying. Outside the bar, Theo pulled out his phone and opened Google Maps. 2 routes popped up to get back to his hostel. The direct path, or a longer scenic route. Even though it was pitch black and there wasn't much scenery to see, Theo chose the longer route. Why? Nobody knows. His path took him past the croquet fields, what locals call the sketchy part of town. Homeless camps, drug deals, you get the picture. And here's where it gets strange. Theo stopped there for 7 full minutes. Did he meet someone? Did someone approach him with an offer he couldn't refuse? We'll never know. But after that stop, everything changed. Instead of heading to his hostel, Theo suddenly turned in the complete opposite direction. His phone tracked him walking past private homes, then deep into dense forest on a narrow trail. Picture this. Total darkness, no street lights, just thick trees everywhere. According to search volunteers who later combed that area, only someone who knew those woods extremely well could navigate that path at night. So the million-dollar question, was Theo walking alone, or did he have company? At certain points along the trail, Theo's pace picked up dramatically. He wasn't running, but moving fast, dangerously fast for terrain that would make you crawl even in daylight. Thick branches, uneven ground, bushes smacking you in the face. Yet Theo navigated it like he'd walked that path 1,000 times. Then he'd slow down, then speed up again. Investigative journalists later retraced his exact route in broad daylight and couldn't believe what they found. Even with full visibility, they struggled through the dense brush, shifting terrain, grass to mud to sand to rocks, branches everywhere. Search volunteers found Theo's favorite baseball cap hanging on a bush right along his tracked route. He'd apparently dropped it and never went back for it. Think about that. You're walking through pitch-black wilderness and your hat falls off. Wouldn't you stop to grab it? Unless you were trying to keep up with someone else. In the darkness, stopping to search for a lost hat might mean losing sight of your guide forever. Or maybe he just didn't notice it fell. But that seems unlikely given how carefully he'd have to be watching his step. Theo's trail led to Cape Byron Lighthouse, Australia's easternmost point. From there, he descended to a secluded beach called Cozy Corner, hidden between hills and completely out of sight. He sat down on the sand and started texting friends and family back home. Those messages seemed totally normal. No panic, no distress calls. Then he opened YouTube and started watching his favorite comedy show, but only watched for 2 minutes. Maybe he just wanted to check out the latest episode, or maybe something distracted him. Picture this: 1 a.m., pitch darkness, ocean waves crashing, lighthouse beam sweeping overhead. That's when Theo turned off his GPS, probably trying to save battery. His phone kept pinging for a while, moving just a few meters up the slope, then back down, like he was pacing or searching for something. Around 6 a.m., the phone briefly reconnected to the network one last time. Then nothing. Theo Hayes had vanished without a trace. On June 6th, police launched a massive search operation. They combed through Tallow Beach, scoured the forest, searched every hill. Helicopters, search dogs, volunteers, the whole 9 yards. Nothing. No phone, no clothes, no body. After 17 days, police officially called off the search. Their conclusion: accidental death. Theo supposedly slipped, fell into the ocean, and got swept away by the current. But his family, and many others, aren't buying it. First off, Theo wasn't drunk. We have the security footage proving that. Even if he did fall, he was an experienced surfer who knew how to handle himself around water. Plus, if he'd fallen from those cliffs, he would have hit rocks first. His body would have stayed there, or at least washed ashore eventually. But nothing. Complete disappearance. Theo was trusting, maybe too trusting. The kind of guy who'd say yes to a midnight adventure with a stranger. And that decision may have cost him everything. Ocean experts confirmed there was an unusually high tide that night. Even so, Theo's body should have washed ashore eventually. But nothing, not even his phone. It's like someone deliberately made everything disappear. Or the ocean claimed Theo Hayes forever. To this day, Theo remains officially missing. His mother still holds on to hope that someday the truth will come out. Thousands of people worldwide still wonder what really happened that night. In late 2019, another disappearance rocked the same area. A woman named Thea Little vanished. She lived off the grid in homeless camps scattered throughout the forest. Last seen about 20 miles north of Byron Bay. Her body was found in bushland in 2020, but the investigation went nowhere. Then in 2021, exactly 2 years after Theo disappeared, another case that can't be ignored. Jackson Stacker, 25, was road tripping across Australia in his own RV. Just like Theo, his journey brought him to Byron Bay, that magical intersection of ocean and freedom.
Jackson disappeared under equally mysterious circumstances. His RV was found quickly on July 23rd, keys still in the ignition. A random woman called his family trying to buy the vehicle, thinking it was for sale. That's when his family knew something was terribly wrong. Jackson's last contact with his mother was July 22nd. He told her he'd be going offline for a bit, out of cell range. Standard stuff for someone exploring remote Australia. A month later, his remains were found deep in the forest. Police initially classified it as suspicious death. But then, to his family's shock, they suddenly changed their ruling to suicide. How believable is that theory? He was found face down with a large hunting knife underneath his body. Police ruled that Jackson had stabbed himself to death. But here's the problem. Jackson was upbeat, energetic, full of life. Self-inflicted stab wounds are extremely rare worldwide. It's just not how people typically take their own lives. And then there's his RV. It looked like it had been ransacked, belongings scattered everywhere like someone was desperately searching for something. The upholstery on the seats was all torn up too. I will tell you the continuation of this story in the next part. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss it.